Hello, everyone. Again, thank you for joining and welcome to today's event, The Kites of Burin, with the Green Olive Collective and the Burin Land and Farming Cooperative. My name is Erez Bleicher, and I'm the Advocacy and Membership Director of the Green Olive Collective, an advocacy, human rights, and tour guiding center committed to a democratic future, the end of the ongoing Nakba, and the Palestinian right of return. We provide communities around the world with insight into the apartheid policies of the occupation and the resources to engage in meaningful advocacy in direct solidarity with Palestinians. Your contributions for today's event will support the 2026 Burin Kite Festival and its organizers as they work to organize this festival in the midst of daily military raids and settler attacks and find the resources for kite making materials, cultural workshops, and buses to transport children displaced from Palestinian refugee camps in the northern West Bank to the Kite Festival and help make sure they can access some joy, laughter, and creativity. You can contribute at the link I just put into the chat. Please copy and paste the link from the chat and contribute all you're able in mutual aid and solidarity with the children and families of Burin. The community is coming together to host the annual Kite Festival this July and inviting people around the world to fly kites along with them and host events in their own communities as part of a global call to action against military occupation. We are joined today with Ghassan Najjar to learn more about the community of Burin and speak in advance of the Kite Festival this July. He is the joint director of the Burin Land and Farming Cooperative.
There's no voice.
Can others hear me? Give a thumbs up if you can hear me.
No voice. I didn't hear you.
It seems other people can hear me, Ghassan. So I don't know. It might be on your end. Yeah, it seems other people can. Hopefully it'll turn out. So we're joining with Ghassan to learn more about the community of Burin and speak in advance of the Kite Festival this July. He is the joint director of the Burin Land and Farming Cooperative, a Palestinian agricultural collective and grassroots workers cooperative committed to developing agroecology as a means of actualizing food sovereignty, environmental justice, and mutual aid in the face of both Israeli military occupation and the privatization of communal resources. For years, Ghassan has organized creative direct actions like the Kite Festival.
I didn't hear you. There's no voice.
Messaging Ghassan to clarify, perhaps there's an issue on his end, but in any case, yeah. Pause with me one moment while we troubleshoot the technology. As always, it's difficult, and as always, there is shoddy technology and connectivity in the West Bank for reasons related to military occupation and control. Give me one moment while I call him.
Hi, Anna Lipman. Nice to see you.
Thanks everyone for your patience. Ghassan is leaving the call and rejoining in just a second. And hopefully the complication will have worked itself through. We'll try to lean into things in just a second. Excited to be here with everyone. And excited for the Kite Festival this July. It's going to be incredible. One moment as Ghassan rejoins. Let's see. Seems there's some trouble connecting on his end. In the meantime, I'll finish the introduction and we'll also begin with our other guests today. I'm excited to introduce you to. So, to finish what I began before, Ghassan has organized creative direct actions like the Kite Festival and popular civil resistance in defense of his community and in support of farmers, students, shepherds, and others bearing the brunt of state violence for many years. We're extremely glad that he's here with us today. Hopefully, he'll be with us in a moment to talk more about the history of the Kite Festival, civil resistance in Burin, and ways we can act in direct solidarity with communities in the Nablus district. I'm also very glad today to be screening together and for all of you the short film Kites of Burin and be joined by its creators, Brandon Tanner Connolly and Raphael Mimoun, to speak with us about their week embedded in Burin and attending the Kite Festival in 2024. The film was recently featured at the Gene Siskel Film Center and also warmly received at the Chicago Palestine Film Festival. I first met Brandon and Raphael in Burin 2 years ago in the context of this same Kite Festival, and I'm very honored to be here with both of you today, along with Ghassan. With that, and before we view the short film itself, I want to turn to you, Brandon and Raf, to introduce yourselves and the film and speak a bit about your relationship to Burin, your time in the village, and your motivation for creating the short. Brandon, do you want to begin and introduce yourself? Give me one moment and I'll ask you to unmute. You should be able to unmute now.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, thanks so much for for having me here, and thanks so much, as always, for facilitating. I'm Brandon. I said I'm based in New York, but I'm currently in Tulsa, Oklahoma for work for a moment, and really grateful to be here with Ghassan in a moment, and with Erez. And as I said, thank you for facilitating, as always, and with so many amazing solidarity activists here on this call, and of course with Raphael also, and with so many other amazing solidarity activists as well on this call. And I know a lot of people have been to Burin, so I apologize if I'm going over things that people have already experienced or already know. But maybe I'll just kind of go through my experience for a minute and then turn over to Raph and hear from him. But yeah, in July of 2024, which is just about 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to the West Bank with the Center for Jewish Nonviolence, CJNV, for some solidarity presence work and just to generally be a resource for Palestinian community organizers, however possible. And very early in the trip, we headed to Burin to help with the Kite Festival in any way we could, knowing that it was happening in about a week or so from that point. And we met Ghassan, which he was incredibly welcoming, and invited us into his parents' house for coffee immediately, and explained the Kite Festival and the other community initiatives that he had kind of started and was fostering in Burin, the Burin Land and Farming Cooperative, the sport club, etc. And it was just an amazing thing to be welcomed so completely, so immediately. upon arriving there. And, there are two things from that first meeting that have kind of stuck with me that felt pretty meaningful to me and continue to. And two moments. And the first is that, as I said, he made us feel very welcome. And one of the ways that he did that was, on the one hand, by lightly teasing or lightly making fun of me immediately, at the start of the meeting. Basically, he had been saying how the head of security at one of the surrounding settlements was from Brooklyn. And in my introduction, I mentioned that, I said, I'm Brandon and I'm from Brooklyn. And he immediately said, "Oh, great," as if to say, kind of another one of that. And that kind of broke the tension immediately and kind of just showed also that, it's okay to laugh while we're doing this. And also that part of it is finding those moments of joy and finding this resistance through joy, as as Ghassan has said, and finding, that kind of levity, amidst everything. And, the second moment was at the end of the meeting, a friend was messaging Ghassan. His house is in the friend's home is in kind of a particularly vulnerable spot. And his friend was messaging him saying that he was being harassed by settlers at that very moment, that there were people who were surrounding his home, and that they were kind of threatening his family. And our first instinct was, well, should we go and document what can we do in this moment? And Ghassan kind of was messaging with him, but was also saying, well, there's other work to be done. There's other work that we need to be doing at this moment, and to kind of direct our efforts toward that way. And that just kind of indicated to me that, oh, this is such a constant presence of harassment, of attempted intimidation, of the threat of violence. This is something that's an everyday occurrence. So much so that even if you're messaging about it in the very moment, there's other kind of important work to be done, and that's almost something that doesn't bear attending to in that moment. So those kind of two moments really kind of set the tone for me. And then as we continued to prepare the Kite Festival and to learn about Burin, Ghassan asked if anybody would document the event. And I think, Raf and I had both separately said that we wanted to make a short film about it, but we're kind of wanted to be respectful also. And so now kind of being invited to do so was really meaningful and really kind of felt like kind of responsibility to convey and to try to help convey the event, to everyone who couldn't be there and to everyone else to kind of capture it and to sort of pass it on to other folks. And, Hassan, he basically told us how every year it was such a contentious event, how there's attempted intimidation, how there's harassment surrounding it, how there's violence surrounding it, how every year, whether it's settlers or the army or both, they're trying to, convince the community not to have the event. And, this year, the year that we were there was no different, unfortunately. And, I don't want to go over the whole movie and I want to give Raf also space to talk about it. But, there was an awful attempt at intimidation by settlers in the community. And, I can remember before the festival just kind of meeting with Ghassan and meeting with other people, other organizers, and just saying, well, if there is kind of, violence at this event, then the important thing is to protect the children that are there and to make sure that, we're kind of doing everything that we can to protect these children who are there to fly kites, who are there to find, those moments of joy. And, as I said, I won't go over the whole film, but I will just say that, being at the resulting festival, especially after that, especially after seeing the omnipresence of, the occupation and of the harassment and of the violence, being there in the end was one of the most cathartic and kind of joyful things I've experienced and I've seen in my life. And, the whole time, editing it together and Raf and I working together to put the film together, I think we just wanted to convey a tiny fragment of that joy and of this concept of resistance through joy and a tiny piece of that catharsis and what it meant to see kids flying kites without the threat of violence for really just a few hours in that. And so, that was kind of the motivation behind putting it together also. Now turn it over to Raf if you want to kind of talk about your experience as well. And thanks so much again for having me and for having the film. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I can take it over from here. Thank you, Brandon. And yeah, thank you so much, Erez, for putting this together, for inviting us and showing the film and just for facilitating those spaces for our friends in the West Bank who are facing this very difficult situation. So yeah, my name is Raphael. I am from France, but I live in Los Angeles, California. I spent 4 years in Herzliya in Israel, Palestine, the town of Herzliya that was built over the village of Al-Haram. And so that's a name and a town that nobody knows about in the town of Herzliya, in the current day town of Herzliya. But that was the Palestinian village that was that was there before 1948. And so I spent a few years in there for university, and I grew up going back and forth between France and Israel, Palestine. I have a lot of family there, and my journey to the Center for Jewish Nonviolence and for Burin really was one of kind of education and growing out of this environment where we think of the situation in Israel Palestine as kind of normal or acceptable or justified in many ways. And that led me to reach out to Center for Jewish Nonviolence and to make it to Burin in the summer of 2024. That's where I met Ghassan for the first time, and it was an incredible experience. I think for me, what was most powerful was that we were there for something called protective presence, and I think maybe we'll be talking about this a little bit later. But that's very much one of the key aspects or the key ways that international activists and Israeli Jewish activists as well can support people in the West Bank who are facing settler violence, army violence, ethnic cleansing, just by being present, just by being there. By our mere presence, we are hoping, and sometimes it helps less, but there's always a little bit of an impact. We are hoping that our presence will lead to some form of restraint for those settlers and those officers from the Israeli army in how they deal and what they do to people in the West, to Palestinians in the West Bank. So we were there for protective presence, of course, during the Kite Festival. And like Brendan was saying, Ghassan was asking who would be able and willing to get some footage and to make a short film about this festival. And when you do protective presence, as I mentioned, the idea is to be there, right? It's to be present and to have your body on the line, right there in the village. In a way, as a human shield sometimes, but really it's your presence. And sometimes you're also looking for things to do. And okay, I'm here and I want to support. What else can I do? And I think making shooting this footage and making this film was a great way for us to do one more thing, not just being there, but also supporting the festival and supporting Burin's struggle more generally. And the one very small note that I'll add, because Brendan presented the situation very well and what we lived through, was that Erez mentioned earlier how supporting the Kite Festival is also supporting the cost of transportation for children from refugee camps in the area around Burin. And that year, that was July 2024, 8 months after October 2023, and the West Bank was completely shut down. And up until the last moment, Ghassan was telling us that the children from refugee camps around would be coming and would be joining, and that particular year, because of the shutdown and the lockdown of the West Bank by the Israeli military, these children couldn't come and they were not allowed to go through. And so I think that was a particularly heartbreaking aspect of this festival. And as you'll see in the film, there is still so much joy, and the children from Burin and the community from Burin is still very much taking full advantage of this time and space. But there was always in the back of my mind, this is also a space that should be open to children from the area, from the region, especially children from refugee camps, which face a whole lot of hardships in those refugee camps. So that was a little bit about me and my experience at the Kite Festival. I'm super excited to be here.
Thanks, Raf, and thanks, Brandon. Really a joy to hear from you both and have you both here. And it was really a joy to meet you both also in 2024 at the Kite Festival. I suppose we were housemates of sorts in the Protective Presence guest house there that Ghassan and the cooperative established for those joining for the festival. And as you said, like it was for the two of you, it was one of the more inspiring and moving things I've witnessed in the last years to see laughter and joy echo through the same hills and valleys during the Kite Festival, where hours before fires were raging after settlers set alight the olive groves. Um, and to quote Ghassan, he often says they dance dabka in the tear gas. So we'll hear more from him about it in his own words shortly. Um, and I've been very privileged also to see the ways that you two have come back to do protective presence and solidarity accompaniment in Masatoyata and in Umakher, and have been much admiring of the work that you both do as accomplished creatives and filmmakers in Jewish Voice for Peace, in Tzedek, the decolonial French Jewish initiative, and to continue in solidarity work. I'm going to, I think now, very happily show the film Kites of Burin that the two of you created to document what this incredible multi-day festival of resistance and Palestinian livelihood and steadfastness is, and allow people here who are gathered to have just a bit more of a glimpse and a dimensional view of what the festival looks like on the ground. And then, of course, Ghassan, we will turn to you and the floor will be yours to share more about the festival, its history, and about all that's happening as you orient towards this year's festival. So give me one moment while I share my screen and show the film Kites of Burin.
It's difficult to talking about children things in this village. To be in Burin as a child, it make you bigger than your age. There is no place to play. You know what they play? When the soldier come inside the village shooting live bullet or sound bomb or tear gas, they're playing for that.
حين التقيتك عاد قلبي نابضا وجرى هواك بداخلي مجرى دمي.
We have a lot of things to do in the village, even if we are under occupation. We have a local council, we have sport club, we have cooperative. Burin famous of all of the trees. Burin have around 32,000 dunums. We try to make a life. All the plant was dying because we not allowed to come to picking and to take care about it. It was beautiful. Like you cannot come and pick with your gamba and everything green. Yeah. Now as you see, it's not just about the plant. This is like make us more strong and make us like to work hard and make us more believing that this is our land. That's the difference between us and the settlers. Settlers burning the land and the trees, and we planting. This is our land, and we will never leave it. This is the Elephant Kite Festival. It's not competition. This is for the children and also for the parents, mom, sisters to come and join. نازل. We have message for the Kite Festival. The message, it's simple. Like, this is our land, this is our sky. Even if you kill us and you don't like us to fly, our kite will fly. Every time we fly the kite, the settlers shooting in the sky. This is also make us happy when they're shooting. This is make us believe that it's really, this is our sky. So this is what we do. Maybe our resistance different than like violence resistance. Planting the land, it's resistant. Being in the land, it's resistant. Smiling, breathing, it's resistant.
مشتاق الأهل والفؤاد بحي السلم نتهن مشتاق في عينه لترابات العيون نامت لكن صاحي قلبه ما بينام يا رايح صوب بلادي شكلك وصي السلام بلغ أهلي وولادي مشتاق له ترف الحمام سلي أمي يما ليك بعدها ممنوع الأحلام.
Beautiful and moving depiction of Burin and of the Kite Festival. Thanks again to you, Brandon, and to you, Ref, for creating such a lovely and textured document to share. And with that, I want to turn to you, Ghassan, to introduce yourself in case there are people here who have not met you before, and say more about this year's Kite Festival and all that's been happening in Burin as you orient towards the festival this July.
Thank you, Eris. Thank you, Rafa. Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate like that there's like people still like work and like support us. First, let me just have a comment for something before I introduce myself. This year, I would like to change from protecting present to struggle together, because this is the time like to be together for like really struggle to take our freedom. My name's Ghassan Najjar. I'm from like Burin village, south of Nablus. I'm working or volunteer with the Burin Sport Club. Also, I am the one who's like founded like the Land and Farming Cooperative. Also, some people say about me that I am like troublemaker in the village, and sometimes not all the time. Yeah. So Burin, like small village south of Nablus, we are 4,000 people living in Burin. Burin surrounded by 3 illegal settlements, and now there's like, unfortunately, there's like two new outposts in Burin. So we are become like a sandwich, as we said, like hamburger. But it's not like, as in Arabic we say, like not zaki hamburger, it's not delicious hamburger. Yeah, but we try to make a life in Burin, because I think we deserve it, because we still We're still fighting. We're still doing the good things to build our village and to build our people and our children. يعني Burin, it's not just like famous for the kite festival. No, Burin, it's famous for the olives harvest, for the oil, for the soap, for the the volunteering work in the village, also for the dabka, like dance. Famous also for the tear gas. We have the best tear gas in the world in Burin. يعني usually we smell يعني between 50 to 100 tear gas a day. That's like why we are strong. You can see, like always we joking, always we say that's we have the best oil in the world because it's mixed with tear gas. Extra virgin oil we have, by the way. Yeah. So for that, yani, this is our life. It's not good sometimes to complain about the life. You have to stand up and work. This is what I believe as Ghassan, as the people who work with Ghassan in Burin. Because the the real occupation, that's when they occupied your mind, not when they occupied your home or occupied your land. So if they occupied your mind, that's the problem. That's mean like you are give up, and there is no way to continue your resistance or your struggle. But if they occupied if they occupied your land and your mind is still free, that's like make a problem for them. So there's every time there's a new idea like to work, there is every time like something to do to annoy the occupation, because the occupation didn't believe that the Palestinian people can do something, and sometimes they say about us animal, but I think we are in good animal, because not all the animal it's negative, as we say. No, we are positive animal. For that, we continue struggle because we believe one things. No one can give us the freedom. We will cannot take it one day. Just we need like time. We have like long breath to work with them, and they try to destroy us from inside, especially for the education. For that, we focusing for the education with the children, because if they succeed to kill our education, so they succeed to kill all of us, and we cannot take Palestine. But for that, yeah, and I think we are in the safe side until now. We like teach our children that Palestine is Palestine and the occupation is occupation. The problem not just with the Israeli occupation, the problem also with the capitalism, like who's the umbrella for the occupation. So we're not just fighting the Israeli occupation as they're taking our land. We're fighting all the government in the world who support Israel internationally. So for that, I think as Ghassan, I don't know if you accept that or not. The Palestinian people, the most strong people in the world. This is what I believe, because like since like 75 or 78 years, we didn't die. We always like stand up and continue our struggle. Yani, yeah, maybe we tired, but that's not mean we are die. We are human. All the human get tired. When we tired, we rest and we stand up and we continue struggle. That's what I believe. And also, yani, we're fighting for the freedom, not for the peace. I didn't believe peace. Sorry, Yani, for that. I believe one thing is called the freedom, because like who bring me the peace? It's the freedom. So I didn't think like the peace bring the freedom. And also I will not accept as Ghassan as the freedom people in Burin or in Palestine or in the world will accept to live under the occupation shoes. No, no way. We prefer to die standing than we dying like under the occupation shoes. So for that, like always we say, the land is our dignity, and we will not live without dignity. I don't want the life like without dignity. For what I need it. So for that, like we always like struggling and always like continue fighting, and we have the believing one day we're gonna take our freedom. Let's like talk a little bit about the kite festival. The kite festival, it's like simple things. It's not that's like big event in the world, and like what's called in English, like the music in Europe, like something like the big event it's happening like a month ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't care
Eurovision.
what was it. Yeah, Eurovision. This is one. Yeah, I'm not interested about it, by the way, yani. But the Kite Festival, it's simple things. But the Israeli occupation, it's making like as a big event. For that, we succeed. For that, like we feel that's like really we annoying the occupation, and this is like our job now. Like what the kite will kind of happen, like will kind of do for the settlers when the kite in the sky? Nothing. But why the settlers shoot the sky, shoot the kite? This is the question. I think everyone know. It's simple like answer. Because this is not them land, this is not them sky. For that, they will kind of use all the weapons. They will kind of use all the forces to kill your dream. But they are stupid. They don't know that we are more stubborn than them, because we believe that the Palestinian people, it's not weak more than Vietnam people, and Israel is not as strong than America. This is the reality. So when we start in the Kite Festival, we starting as like a fun like day for the children. And we didn't put it in our mind that this is will kind of like be trouble for us and we will kind of get arrested, to be honest. But after we do it like 3 years continue, and I get arrested for that, and to be honest, I'm start thinking inside the prison. I get arrested for the Kite Festival. That's good. So in the prison, I start like planning like to doing more than the Kite Festival. It's not just about Kite Festival. It's the message for the Kite Festival. So we change it from the fun things to fun and political like event, because we bring all the children in the refugees camp in the West Bank. That's the good message that we are one people in Palestine, and there is no difference between villages and refugees camp and city. This is one part. The other part, like to tell the occupation that we are here, we will not leave our land. So usually the Israeli occupation like close all Burin area. I think last year or the years before, the army invaded the mayor house in Burin in the Kite Festival, in the day of the Kite Festival in the morning. And they tried to push him to call me to stop the Kite Festival. He called me and he started like screaming at me, the mayor. He said, you have to stop the Kite Festival. They will can arrest me. And you see the situation. I said, they will can arrest you? He said, yes. I said, this is what we need. Let them to arrest you. Because like really, we need you to get arrested because you are annoying. You are not the mayor of Burin. And we didn't believe that you are the mayor of Burin. So sorry to say that, fuck off. Get arrested. I don't care. I will not stop the Kite Festival because you will kind of get arrested. Like more than like 20 volunteers get arrested for the Kite Festival. I will kind of care about you and not care about the 20 person in the prison. No. So we continue the Kite Festival, but unfortunately he didn't get arrested. That's the bad things that's happening in the Kite Festival. So when we do the Kite Festival, usually you feel you're going to the war without reason. Because they close all the entrance of Burin. So you have to thinking about like the new road for Burin in the mountain and in between the trees. That's we start putting the plan. That we will can have like emergency road if they close Burin. And also we have the shadow committee if Ghassan get arrested and the committee who's work with Ghassan get arrested. And just like to make the Kite Festival it's happening, because this is the only day for the children to be in the mountain with them family and enjoying, even if the settlers like shoot the kite. The funny things that the children like make a competition, not us, the children. That's the kite who's like raised up with the Palestinian flag of the Bracha settlement, who's win. That's a competition between the children. So they need like the flag to raise up of the settlement. So when you see the flag up of the settlement and the settlers start shoot the kite, that's like make you very sure that this is stupid people, one day they will kind of leave. Because there's no reason like to shoot the kite in the sky. Yeah. That's the situation. And also the other things, like we try like to make the children happy, to give them some gift, to make like them relationship also with them family like better. In Burin we don't have like park or the football field. We have football field, but it's not good, and it's close to the settlement, and we try to make one. Until now we have problem with that, but yani, the kite festival for us, it's become like a holiday, because there's no time for the children like to be in the village like in fun day. We don't have park, we don't have like something like to do with the children. Even when we make the library in Burin to give some class and some like training for the children, since 10 days until now, the soldier invaded the library, destroyed things, shooting live bullet like tear gas, sound bomb. Even there's no one place in Burin it's safe. Even in our home, it's not safe. Anytime the soldier can invade the home. And yesterday, I was like walking in the mountain. I stopped by the army. We have discussion about the about the history. Always some soldier thinks they are like clever and they just want to embarrass me. So when I embarrass him for some question, he give me ban that I am not allowed to be here for 1 month in the mountain. So I said to him, okay, yani if I am banding, I'm not coming here. So we can go other like place. But I am sure that even the settlers believe, and the soldier believe that this is our land, it's not them land. When you see the settlers burning the trees and poisoning the trees and cutting the trees, that's like make you sure that this is not them land. If the God give them this land, why you burning and poisoning the soil and poisoning the trees? What the reason for that? You have to take care about it. You have to plant more trees to tell the people this is our land. It's not like Palestinian land. But they are stupid. Every time they're burning the land, that's give the people, especially like international people, the sure that this is Palestinian land. And also like since 2004 until now, Burin lost more than 17,000 olive trees by burning, cutting, and poisoning. So I think we will not gonna be frustrated. Sometimes we be frustrated as a human. It's okay, but we're not allowed to give up, because in the day or the time that we will kind of give up, I think this is the end of the story. For that, like we continue fighting. We take our stronger from you guys because you're standing with us, and we believe that's our struggle. It's your struggle, because not just us under the occupation, also you under the occupation by your like capitalism government you live. So let's work together and see where we're going. How can I receive a question? I'm talking so much, sorry.
We wish there was more time to talk all day and all evening. Thank you, Ghassan. Shukran. And I'll say for myself that seeing so 2024 was the first time that I attended along with Ralph and Brandon, and it was also the first year that the Green Olive Solidarity Network organized a global call to action, a global week of action with local solidarity kite flying events around the world, which was very powerful to amplify the demands of the community of the ground. And as you say in the call to action, as the organizers of the Kite Festival say, let me read it to make sure that I don't mess it up because it's so beautiful. You say, moment. We have the right to smile. We have the right to have fun. We have the right to be happy. We have the right to play. We have the right to move. From the Burin Mountains to the sands of Gaza, They will not kill our hope and our smiles. And that's exactly what you were describing in your description of the children accessing joy and play in the mountains with the families and their competitions to cause trouble for occupation. And I love the way you said that we should have a long breath in the struggle, and hopefully all of us here together around the world should have a long breath in troublemaking with you long into the future, inshallah. Um, and for me, I've started to think about the Kite Festival and the kites that seem to extend endlessly, infinitely into the sky each year that I look forward to seeing in as a counter to the restrictions on freedom of movement, also seeing, and especially these last years, this West Bank also is in a state of siege, and Burin in specific, and all the other communities that we work in co-resistance and solidarity with are experiencing closures and checkpoints and containment in ways that are ever growing. And to see the kites extend just incredibly into the heavens is unbelievable. And I think is such a powerful show of movement and freedom and how the imagination and the mind can't be contained. And thanks to you and the organizers of the Kite Festival for being teachers in that. And I hope that all of us here can join together both around the Kite Festival this year and also in the Sowing Solidarity campaigns we have each year to replant olive trees and then other efforts into the future as we all continue towards a future of freedom and dignity. I wanted to turn back to you, Raf and Brandon, for a moment and ask you how it's been to show the film in other contexts. I know it was just filmed in Chicago, and I wanted to hear from you what that was like for you, or at the Gene Siskel Film Center, what it's been like to share this, and what has it been like to show people the efforts of Ghassan and the Land and Farming Cooperative and the steadfastness of Palestinian communities, if you have any quick word to share.
I'll just say really quickly that the screening in Chicago was amazing. It was at the Chicago Palestine Film Festival and was part of a program of other amazing films there. And the reception was very warm, and it was amazing to see, as you said, at the Gene Siskel Film Center, it's a larger theater, and it was amazing to see, really kind of a full packed house watching the film and, seeing how kind of excited everybody was seeing the kites on screen and seeing how supportive everybody was and seeing how much, everybody wanted to convey that they really were invested in the situation and that they really, kind of wanted to show their own joy at seeing these children kind of playing on screen. So that was an incredibly positive screening experience. And, I think we're trying to get it out there as well and to kind of show as many people as possible, like just a piece of that joy or a piece of that, that kind of cathartic thing. But but I'll let Ralph speak to it also. Yes, ideas.
Yeah, no, the only thing I'll add is that I think just showing the film is really an opportunity to show the small things of military occupation and ethnic cleansing, because I think we get caught up, especially when we're outside Israel, Palestine, we get caught up in the big picture stuff. But military occupation and ethnic cleansing is such a daily thing that sometimes we forget what it actually looks like and feels like. And so we read the news and it's distant, it's far, it's hard to grasp. And then what we're hoping when we're showing this film and some of the reactions we're seeing is, oh, this is what it's like just on a regular day trying to organize a regular event for regular children. This is how difficult it is. This is what happens. You get settler attacks on the same day for no particular reason. So that's, I think, the big thing that's coming out of showing this film around, and especially for people who have had a connection to Israel, Palestine because they're Jewish or because they have family there or things like that. The West Bank and Palestinian land in the West Bank usually inspire fear. Like if you've spent time in Israel growing up, if you're Jewish, not for everyone, of course, but for many people who have had a connection growing up with Israel, this is the first thing that comes up. Oh, you're going into the West Bank. what are you going to do there? Like, isn't that dangerous? What, all of those different things. And then you go and you see that there is danger, and the danger is coming from settlers and from the Israeli army. And so I think that's some of the conversations that this film has been creating and triggering with people who watch it.
And it's also just amazing to see Ghassan up on the big screen, I had to say. He's in the theater. I wanted to get a picture for him of that, but next time I will, definitely. So, always great to see.
Incredible. I think what you both said is so right, that I think for those of us around the world and not on the ground, um, and not living the daily reality Palestinians do, it's hard to grasp in many ways, and understandably even, the saturating violence of occupation and how it affects every part of life. And I think also from the media headlines and politicians, it's easy to get fixated on these spectacular images of violence that are often shown in social media and the newspapers, but the spectacular, really spectacular, miraculous acts of steadfastness that people commit to each day in tending to their lands, that the Burin Land and Farming Cooperative makes happen each and every moment, replanting trees that are destroyed. These are spectacular acts of steadfastness and resistance in a context of saturating violence. And I wish that people could be attuned to the just unfathomable acts of commitment to the land and peoplehood and community and family that are showcased every day and in the Kite Festival. So once again, we're joining here today in support of Ghassan and the Burin Land and Farming Cooperative and the children and the families of the Northern West Bank and all Palestinians living under occupation. So as has been mentioned in the chat, and as I've mentioned earlier in this conversation, everyone here is very warmly invited to host a solidarity kite flying event in your community in coordination with the Kite Festival in Burin this July. I've shared in the chat the global call to action, where it includes a link where you can register to host an event, and everyone who registers is automatically sent additional information, instructions, resources, visuals, graphics, fundraising materials, and we're also trying to raise another $8,000 for kite making materials, for workshops and cultural activities, gifts for the children, and for tens of buses that will allow children from throughout the West Bank to Burin for the Kite Festival to access some joy and to access some freedom and send their kites into the skies. Ghassan, I want to turn back to you as we unfortunately are nearing the end of our time, and ask if there are any last things you really want to focus on that you think are important for people to understand about the Kite Festival, about why it's been so central in the imagination and life and politics of Burin since 2008, and what you want to ask of people around the world as they act in solidarity for the Kite Festival and in the future with Palestinians on the ground.
And I think the Kite Festival it's become like a culture in the village, because since 2009 we making this Kite Festival, and the people waiting the July to come to do the Kite Festival. That's the really it's amazing for us. That's the people that trust us and to make this event for them children. And the other things, it's message also for the occupation. That's you will never kill us. Yani, if you kill Ghassan, there's other Ghassan will coming to you to annoying you in the village. So it's okay to try to kill us, but make sure that you will not succeed, because we have the enough education to take you to kick your ass. And we have many idea to do it, annoying you. And what I want from the international people, that's to make sure that we don't have any problem with the Jewish religion. Our problem with the Zionist. and we have many friends Jewish who's work in Burin, and we have many friends who's like believe our struggle. But also you have to know something that we fight for freedom, not for peace. So that's the most important things with us. And you have to know something that when you come to Burin, make sure that you're coming to struggle with Burin. You're not coming to protect us. Sorry, if you're coming to protect me, I will not accept that. I can protect myself. Sorry, I need to say that. So bet in your mind that you're coming to struggle here. It's not coming to protect like Burin people. Burin people can protect themselves and also can protect you because like we are the owner of the land, so we know the situation more than you. So I would like if you come to struggle together. That's what we need from you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ghassan. And thanks also, Raf and Brandon. This was incredible. And I know that we've come together today as a community of people committed to struggle and solidarity across borders. And as Ghassan uh, articulated so beautifully, it's not only about the Israeli occupation, it is about capitalism and imperialism, white supremacy, and the interlocking systems of power that occupy all of our worlds and attempt to impress themselves on all of our lives. So I hope we can continue to create connections and solidarities across borders and work together to dismantle the systems of power and oppression that cause such violence in Burin and in lives around the world. Please do, again, look at the call to action I put in the chat to host an event in your own community and mobilize local schools, classes, justice groups, faith organizations in solidarity with the Kite Festival this July. Please also, any help passing around the mutual aid fundraiser for the Burin Kite Festival is much appreciated as we work to make it possible for Ghassan and the organizers in Burin to bring children who have been displaced throughout the last year to the Kite Festival and to provide kite making materials and singing troops and dabka and cultural events. So any help sharing it with your communities, your networks, listservs you're in, truly passing it around would be a huge, huge help as we all work together to expand the possibilities for co-resistance and expand the possibilities of troublemaking across borders. And with that, thanks so much, Ghassan, and thanks, Brandon, and thanks, Raf, and thanks also to each of you here from around the world for taking the time to join as part of this community that gathers once a month. And we look forward to seeing you in upcoming events. Stay tuned for updates from the Green Olive Collective. If you want to join the Kite Festival on the ground, please reach out to me and the Green Olive Collective or to Ghassan. And of course, I'm sure we can help coordinate and arrange that. And there will be a cohort of solidarity activists coming to join for the festival in July. So everyone is welcome to join. And we will see you very soon. Have good and lovely days and talk soon. Thanks for coming. Much appreciated. Have a good night, Ghassan.